Hello, me and how are y'all? Welcome back to my channel, or should I say, howdy y'all. I can't take myself seriously, but I love this so much. Hi, how are y'all? Welcome to another video. In this video specifically, as you can see by my fabulous attire, we'll absolutely talk about cowboy romances. I literally have been on a binge. My birthday month, usually I don't read as much, but this month I actually could read a lot because I was in a cowboy romance binge. And a couple of my girlies on Bookstagram specifically DM'd me asking me like what was my favorite, what's a good introduction. I was like, that's a perfect video idea actually, since I like this so much. And I have credentials. I'm a OG horse girl. Here's my proof. All of my bookish socials are always linked in the description below, so feel free to go follow me, especially if you want more like active updates. I update basically every single day. I was going through all of my data, like Storygraph and everything else, of all of the books that I've read since coming back into reading, and I've read upwards of like 30-ish cowboy romances. There's a couple that is like, oh, maybe he has a horse or something like that, but they're not like cowboy romances, you know? So I left that aside and I didn't include it here, so I have at least 30. But I figured I would only tell you about my favorite ones. Right now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 series, 5 series, and a couple of standalones. I think they might be actually connected to, they might be like interconnected standalones, but I read them as standalones, if that makes sense. But they were really good, so I wanted to share with you. So, first and foremost, of course, I had to start this video talking about the Chestnut Spring series by Elsie Silver. This was my getaway drug. Getaway drug? First drug? Alexa, what is a getaway drug? You suck. What is a getaway drugs? I guess that's how you say. Why am I saying getaway? Yeah, I was right. As I was saying, the Chestnut Springs by Elsie Silver were absolutely my gateway drug into cowboy romance. Honestly, I was kind of upset as I started reading more cowboy romances. I'm like, I kind of hate and love that I started my cowboy romance reading with this, because this is such a top tier romance series that now all the other ones that I've read so far, not all of them, but like most of them, I'm like, they're not topping Elsie Silver. Like, and I feel like I need to process that in my own time with my therapist. As any good cowboy romance series, they are interconnected standalones and they are in a very small town, specifically in the ranch that the brothers and the dad, Harvey, I love him. He's so inappropriate and so funny. It's amazing. But anyways, so obviously we have the small town feels, we have the found family feels, and that's one of the favorite things you're gonna realize, because my other series of cowboy romances that I really like also have a very strong found family feeling to them. I feel like that's one of the main things that make the country feels and the culture so integral to these type of series. I feel like if there wasn't some type of like, we're together in this, like there's a small town, we're here for each other type of thing, it would just feel like a big city, a New York City or something like that, and that wouldn't warm our hearts. It all starts with Flawless, the first one of the Chestnut Springs. The first 3 I heavily annotated because I was reading it with a friend of mine, Buddy, reading it, and it was such a good experience because we were dissecting this. We were like, no, but if he does this, blah, 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 math, you know? So the first one, Flawless, starts with Rhett Eden and Summer Hamilton. He is a professional bull rider that has had some type of like bad PR that's happened, and he specifically, which is hilarious because they make jokes about it all the time, he specifically has been, I think if I remember correctly, because it's been a couple years since I've read this whole series, I honestly need to reread it because I love it so much, but if I remember correctly, he was being sponsored by a milk company or something like that, connected to milk, and he was caught on a video of like a random person that recorded, and they went viral on social media, of him saying that he absolutely despises milk. There's specifically a scene that I thought it was hilarious where the other brothers and like the found family in general kept sending him cocktails and drinks that include milk in it. This is from your secret admirer or something like that, and it was hilarious. He was fuming. Summer Hamilton is the daughter of his PR manager, and Summer by her dad is tasked to basically babysit him and go about his season and travel everywhere with him. Obviously there's forced proximity, but also kind of not really taboo, but like forbidden romance, because obviously like the first thing the dad says is like, don't do anything with my daughter, and he's like, actually I love her. Actually I want to tap that real bad. Such a good introduction to the rest of the series, which is followed by Heartless, my favorite. They are amazing. I love them so much, especially Willa. So this one is Cade Eaton. He is the older brother of the Eaton boys. Eaton? Am I a eel? I mean, a seal. He's the older brother, so I loved the discussion about expectations being put on his shoulders. He's basically like the main guy of their family ranch now that their dad is getting older, even though his jokes are still really freaking funny and inappropriate. But he basically runs the ranch at this point. So if you want a true cowboy, Rhett is a bull rider, but specifically Caden Eaton, like he talks about all the time, waking up and having to go to the pastures, round up his cattle, and so on and so forth. So I love that. This one is also a single dad romance because he is a single dad. And the FMC of Heartless is Willa Grant. She is actually Summer's best friend. And she's kind of like this wild child redhead that also, talk about wild child, their meet cute is so hilarious. I think about it constantly. But anyways, she's this wild child. She has been trying to like reinvent herself. She's like the type of person that is the life of the party, but also nobody actually takes care of her. You know, like the funny friend that nobody actually asks how they're doing because they're the life of the party, you know? And sometimes they're the saddest ones. And there's a specifically one scene in this that I will never forget. And honestly, I need to read this again this week because it's my book club book. But there's a scene that he's like, I see you looking at this. Do you want this? Do you want the family? Do you want the ranch? Do you want this life? And it's such a good freaking scene. It really brings both of their characters together and both of their wants and needs in a way that makes sense. Like, she has been trying to find herself and finally found herself somewhere that she would never think possible. And he has been looking for that person to be next to him for this hard life that it was so harsh and hard to go through that he sometimes would have to be heartless. See what I did there? Anyways, so I love this. Willa, and talk about the meet cute so I can explain. And if nothing of that convinced you, also, by the way, all of these are really spicy, so take that as a given. If I haven't convinced you yet, I'm gonna convince you right now. Their meet cute is she's driving to their ranch. Summer has basically moved in with him, so she's like, I'm gonna go visit you. I also don't know what I'm doing with my summer. I need to reinvent myself. I'm gonna come visit you. So before she goes to the ranch, she stops at a coffee shop. I think she's in front of him, and I think she's getting a coffee. She's looking for her wallet or something like that. She's going through her purse, and stuff starts coming out, obviously, because that happens all the time. And her black lacy thong falls in the middle of the coffee shop, and he's right behind her, like, what the hell? Trying to being this sweet cowboy guy, gentlemanly and sweet, and trying to grab her stuff for her. If I remember correctly, don't quote me on this, but if I remember correctly, he goes to pay for the coffees because she couldn't find the wallet or something. So he pays for both of their coffees, and she grabs the thong and is like, here, this is yours. And she says something like, no, you keep it, or something like that. And this man, this heartless, grumpy, I'm a cowboy, woo, I don't do soft shit, he keeps the freaking panties the whole time, and it was so good. Also, the little boy, what actually ends up putting them together is there's so much responsibility that's being put into Cade's shoulder that is specifically during the summer, he doesn't have the time or the ability to take care of his son all the time. She becomes his nanny for the summer. So there's definitely first proximity. They quite literally have to live with each other. And it's beautiful to see not only Cade and Willa's relationship growing, but also Willa's name is Luke, and he's so adorable. There's a specific scene that I always remember too, where she has to take him to like a little kids party or something like that. And obviously she's there as a nanny, but like their relationship has grown so much that she feels so attached to this little boy, and he loves her so much too, that I don't know if it was like a little bullying or they were picking on him or something like that. And she basically pushes this little kid into the pool that was bullying him, and it was so funny. She's like, yeah. After this one is Powerless. This one, to be completely honest, is not my favorite of them. I feel like because by his nature, Jasper is basically one of the Eaton boys without being an Eaton boy. He has this tragic childhood and basically gets taken in by the Eaton boys. He's best friends with, I think, Bo from the last book. I don't remember if it was Bo or Rhett. I think Bo. But either way, he's basically like an honorary Eaton boy. He's a professional hockey player, and he's really, really good and really famous, but obviously he's an honorary Eaton boy, so he's every time he's off season, or sometimes even right after games, he goes back to the ranch, so he helps with the ranch and cattle and everything else, so he's on horses pretty often. So this is Jasper Gervais, the honorary Eaton boy, and Sloane, I think her last name is something like Winthrop or some shit. She is basically direct cousins of the Eaton boys. This is a second chance romance because she would go to their ranch to spend summers and stuff with them, and obviously Jasper was there. They would always feel some type of connection, some type of friendship, and she would always say that he's the little boy with sad eyes because, again, he has such a traumatic childhood with very bad parents, and she also felt such pressure from her family her whole life to be the best and marry the perfect person. There's so many things that happen that really bonds them. I think one of the main scenes that always catches me with this book specifically is Drop the Ring and Crawl to Me, and it's such a good scene, and they have to go on a trip together for the ranch, and it's so good. They're kind of forced by their circumstance to talk it out, process their emotions, and it's really, really good. My second favorite, I would probably say, it's absolutely Reckless, the fourth one in the series. I don't know what it is about this. I have a friend of mine on Booksta that her favorite thing is single dads. It's not my favorite trope to be honest with you, so I don't know what attracts me to this so much. I think because he really is a family man. He's a definition of a family man. This man literally got hit with so much news and so much shit that he didn't know. It is a pregnancy trope. It's about Winter Hamilton, who is sisters with Summer from the first one, and Theo Silva, who is basically an honorary Eaton boy too. He's also a bull rider. They have a really, really hot one-night stand. She ends up getting pregnant, and for some reason that I'm not going to tell you because it's going to be a spoiler, he doesn't know about the baby until when the baby's like a year and a half old. She's so sweet. I don't know if my imagination is accurate, to be honest, but my imagination of the little baby is the most rambunctious, chubby little cheeks ever. Duh, he's gonna fall in love with her, and duh, he's gonna love his little kid, but still, there's so many stories, and especially in real life, where that isn't the case, and I feel like he basically fell into fatherhood and fell into being in love with Winter, which he had already been, like, he was in love with her from the jump, but I truly feel like the parenthood brought them together in a way that was so beautiful, them being gentle with each other. The arc of the female main character on this one, of Winter, is my favorite one of the whole series of the female main character's arcs, because you start the series hating her because you only get one side of the story and you don't really get her perspective on it. She gets a little bit of cameos throughout the first 3 books, and then on this one you get her perspective, how also like hard her life has been, and how she basically also only has had her perspective and not the perspective of her sister and stuff like that. Her relationship with Summer is so sweet too. As a person who's so close to my sister, we're like this. I thought it was beautiful to see how they got over so much stuff that happened throughout their lives, but in a very healthy way. So I love this one, since I'm talking about my favorite scenes all the time. My favorite scene of this one definitely has to be also their meet cute, which I think a lot of people know because it's one of my favorite like viral little quotes that goes on TikTok. She's also going to the ranch to meet with them. It's like night or snowy or both or something like that, and she's basically like trying to find the way because she's never been to this ranch, and he is with this like very big truck and following, which she thinks is following her towards the ranch, but he was also just going to the ranch. She's like, what is this man doing? This man is following me. They finally get to the ranch. Red comes outside, the guy from the first book comes outside. She's yelling at him like, why would you follow me? You're driving like a maniac or some stuff like that. Being her sassy self, and tells Red like, Red, call your dog or something like that, trying to call him off. And he just goes, Roof? I had to go find it because it's too good. Call your dog off, Eaton. She keeps walking, only addressing Red like I'm not even there. But goddamn, I love a challenge. I turn with a loud woof as I watch her petite frame slip into the bright light of the warm, bustling house. Red is laughing at me, not with me. You're an idiot, Theo. I shake my head. Dude, I think I'm in love with your sister-in-law. She's so fiery. Do you know the videos that's like, if you see a 5 foot some yelling at me or something, That's just my wife. Don't save me. I'm exactly where I want to be. This is Theo to a T. He knows exactly what he's in for and he likes it. And last but not least, because I feel like I've been talking for hours, Hopeless. This one is not as much Cowboy necessarily. Obviously, he works at the ranch also. Bo is the youngest Eaton boy, and he is a former military, special military, yeah, a military hero that comes back from a lot of shit that goes on with his military career. And little boy, poor little boy, he is hunted. There's some PTSD stuff going on, and obviously, just like some of the other characters, he's trying to find himself. Honestly, transitioning from military to civilian life is really hard. So it makes total sense to me. There's so much that he's going through. He finds some solace with Bailey Jensen. She is the little sister of a little family, is basically neighbors with the ranch, their ranch, Chestnut Springs. It's not necessarily second chance because they didn't have that spark or that connection when they're young, like Jasper and Sloane. They have some type of understanding of each other's family dynamics and stuff. And she is actually also the bartender at their main little pub or the main little bar. Like, you know, small towns, there's only one bar and everybody goes to that one bar. There's only one bartender. She's that one bartender. He is going through it, trying to find himself, and he's like super introverted and super introspective. And Bailey is also going through a bunch of stuff. Older brothers are pieces of shit. They are horrible human beings. I feel like they kind of save each other. They both have insomnia, and as someone that has insomnia, I loved the scenes where they're just tossing and turning and finally find solace with each other and talk and stuff like that. If all of this yapping hasn't clued you in, I freaking love this series, and I think you should read it. Most of these that I have are series recommendations because I love series so much. But as a couple that I read as standalones, but I think even if they are connected to some type of series, they're not that interconnected. One of them was Big Nick Energy. This is actually technically a Christmas romance by Morgan Elizabeth, but hey, you can read them whenever you feel like it. I liked this one not only because it's a quick little Christmas romance, but also because it's single mom and she has two very little adorable little girls. During Christmas time, basically, they meet because I think she goes to his dad's Thanksgiving or something like that, and it's their first time, her and her daughter's first time post-divorce, to celebrate Christmas, and she feels so overwhelmed. She's a full-time worker, a single mom, trying to deal with all of the emotional process of having to figure all of that out, but also be present to her little daughters and still make it special to them. And this man literally is like, you know what? I can take care of a handful of things that you're having to deal with, and I will be that man for you. It's so cute. Specifically, one thing that I will always remember, but the elf on the shelf thing, that the elf, basically as an adult, you move the elf every night, and the kid looks for the elf every day, and there's a little prank or whatever. This lady's like, why would you tell them, my little girls, this? Now I don't have the wherewithal or the capacity to be messing with the elf every day. I'm already so overwhelmed. And he's like, it's okay. I did this. I will make sure it's done. And she's like, you live 30 minutes from me, because he is a rancher. I think he owns the ranch, or it's in our family ranch or something like that. He's a full-on cowboy. And she's like, you live 30 minutes from me in a ranch. Like, you're not going to be able to do this. He's like, it's okay, baby. I got you. It is so sweet. This man literally wakes up in the crack of dawn every day, drives 30 minutes just to figure something out with the elf and come up with these like really funny little pranks for the little girls, and it's adorable. So if you want something quick with a little bit of spice and also very adorable cowboy with a single mom story, this is the one for you. A couple of other ones that I also read as standalones that I will just mention because it's been a good 3 years since I've read them, but I remember liking them, is Rein Me In by Kayla Gross. I remember because I loved this one so much because she is also a cowgirl. She's also plus size, and I love the representation of that. And this man loves the curves. She also runs a ranch or something like that. But I remember this one, like, it's also a second chance. And I remember the new meet cute of them as adults meeting back together, or meeting each other again, is at his bar. There's a mechanical bull, and somebody in some way, shape, or form dares her to go up there. She basically has to ride this mechanical bull in front of everybody. She's like, I don't want to do this. And basically she puts on a show, and that man was enthralled. You know what I mean? That man was enthralled. There's so many little scenes that I loved about this one, but specifically that one. And I also read it as a standalone. So if you want something fast, I think that one also is part of the series. If you want to continue, go for it. I will be cheering you on from here. Another staple of a series on cowboy romance that I feel like even if you're remotely interested in cowboy romances or in any type of bookstagram or book talk, you will have seen some book in this series is the Rebel Blue Ranch series. It starts, I even have the indie version of Done and Dusted because I'm not new to this, I'm true to this, you know what I mean? Like I've had this for forever. I was there when it started. Back in my day, man. You will buy this on indie. I love this series so much. There's 4. I don't have the second one, I think, because honestly, it wasn't my favorite. I had the audiobook, read it, and I was like, I don't know if I'm going to buy the physical. But the other 3 are amazing. And I know a lot of girls that are my mutuals that actually really liked that one. So I feel like either way, her writing, Lila Sage's writing is so comforting. Like, it's not high stakes at all. You know, the whatever conflict or whatever climax is going to happen, they're going to figure out in a way that's so healthy and so understanding of each other and so beautiful, but still being human. You know what I mean? The first one, for example, was my absolute favorite. I think Teddy and Gus is my favorite actually because it's the 3rd one of the series. And she's also a Spitfire. I think that's my theme. My favorite one of the Chestnut Springs is also where she's the Spitfire.
And now I'm bashful.
I'm bashful. Now I'm bashful. Anywho, but I remember being so protective of my little girl. It's about Clementine, Emmy Ryder, and Luke Brooks. And I loved this one specifically not only because it's such a good writing and so comforting, but especially because she is also a cowgirl. She competed a lot, so many tournaments and competitions. She suffers an accident. Basically, she gets thrown from the horse, develops anxiety and panic attacks from it. There's one specific scene that I will never forget that she's literally like trying to regain her composure, but she's going through a very bad anxiety attack. And it's like in the middle of the barn. She's trying to get to the horses and stuff. And she starts like falling down in the middle of the barn and he finds her there. And he basically just like grabs her into his chest and breathes through it with her. And it's the like sweetest thing because I think it's in his POV if I remember correctly. And he's like, what do I do? Please tell me what to do. I don't want you to suffer like this. And for me, it was the turning point for their relationship. Because before they were like, oh yeah, sure, you're hot. Sure, we're attracted to each other, whatever. I feel like that really turned their relationship to the better. The ending is so satisfying. This man is in love. And he's the definition of I will support her with whatever she wants, with whatever she likes, with her wishes and likes, no matter what. It was beautiful. That is followed by the one that I don't have, which is Swift and Saddled. I liked it. I think she's this like punk little interior designer, and he is a definition of a golden retriever. If you want a man that is absolutely in love with you and will follow you to the ends of the earth, no matter what you do, this one right here. It was beautiful. I just feel like the ending, she needed to apologize a little bit more. The graveling in her part needed to be a little bit more, even though we understand why she did it, you know, like because again, she has had some type of past experiences that basically made her traumatized and made her act the way she does. I feel like, sure, we can understand why she acted that way, but I feel like she still needed to apologize a little bit more. But I love that my sweet little boy was nice and patient enough to understand her, and thankfully she continues to treat him and he treats her amazingly, so that's great. But then we have again my favorite one in the series because she is a redhead and she is a Spitfire and he is extremely grumpy and he is also a single dad. They hate each other in the beginning, as you do, and she's also having to babysit for him, and it's so sweet. Seeing them become a couple after having spent the last 2 books, seeing them bicker and hate each other is so satisfying. It's so good. And every time he calls her Teddy Baby. Also, the audiobooks of all of these are really, really good. Specifically this one, I specifically remember the very southern heavy accent saying Teddy Baby. Last but not least, another sweet, sweet boy golden retriever. The first 3, Amy, Teddy, and Gus, the MMC, are all siblings and they're all on the same ranch, so that makes sense. This one, they're not siblings, but Camille, the FMC, is actually the mom of Teddy's little girl. his 6-year-old little girl. Their relationship is so mature. The co-parenting is so healthy. And you see also her having to deal with guy that she's supposed to marry that is not the right guy for her at all. He has been in love with this woman for so freaking long. If you like tattoos, you're gonna love this one. He's the type of man that is like, I will take whatever I can get from her, even if it's just crumbs of her looking at me and spending time with me, I will get that. And I loved how she ended up choosing him because he was so willing and so resilient, and she was like, no, but I choose you too. Their love story back to each other is beautiful. I will say throughout this whole series, the vibes of like small town, rivers, ranch, horses is amazing, but especially on this last one, there's a scene that they're driving and it's so beautiful. Like I could imagine and picture the picturesque views that they were seeing, and the way that she writes the then and now chapters. He's been in love for forever, and it's like, oh, so-and-so's color is blue or something like that, and he's like, I know, like it's been blue, I've known it for forever, like because she's my favorite person. However, if you want something raunchy, if you want something taboo, if you want something, oh my gosh, we are so snowed in, oh my gosh, nothing matters when we're stuck in a cabin with everything you see outside of the window is just snow and there's nobody around us. Chana, Chana. This series, I just read this past month and I loved it. Not only because all of them are taboo. If you don't like taboo, I'm sorry, you're not gonna like this series. But I personally loved it. The age gap, there is a lot of spice. There's one that he's technically married still legally, but they have been separated for 10 years. But it's like a PR stunt. She is basically always using him to curate her image, and she's obviously horrible, a little viper. But so there's technically cheating, but I hate her anyway, so that's okay. And they weren't in a relationship for 10 years. It was just legally and for appearance sake. But I loved this one. I think my favorite one is the first one, because the horse girl in me loved the horse girl in her. Like, she's like a magnet to horses, and horses are magnets to her. Like, her aura and her love for horses and working hard and doing whatever she can is so amazing. Thankfully, she's well taken care of by her ex's dad. In the last one in the series that is out that I haven't read yet is a book with the ex-boyfriend that also has, I hope, has a good character arc, a good growth. I haven't read his book with this other guy that we also don't know anything about, which I'm interested in. Basically, he goes from being like a fuckboy that does not care about anybody else but himself. He's like basically being taken over, being absorbed with the fame and drugs and partying. That usually doesn't bode well for the people around him. Seeing him grow and still being the charming presence that he always is, but still being responsible and still taking care of people around him has been beautiful. So I'm excited to see. I don't know when I'm gonna read it because I'm currently in a very different reading mood of a IHA reading mood. I'll see when that happens. Hopefully the audiobook will come out of that one too. Also, the audiobook for that series is really good, and then I'll read that way. Last but not least, I have to talk about my recent favorite obsession. I also read this last month. I cannot wait for the new series because it just got picked up by Bloom. I cannot wait for the new books, the new covers to come out, and I buy them and for me to read them because it's so good. I feel like, which is really big of me to say because I just told you I'm in love with the Chestnut Springs, I feel the same feelings for the series that I got from Chestnut Springs. If that tells you anything, is that this is so sweet, but still so good and talks about real life stuff, but without being so high stakes, which I think is my sweet spot. I want something to feel real and for them to be human and make mistakes and apologize and have really hot sex, but still not freaking super high stakes that somebody's gonna die. You know what I mean? I want to be sure at least both of them are safe and sound to the end of the book. Cash is the first one. He is the oldest one. He also has so many responsibilities. He's one of the same ones like Cade from the other series, where he feels so much pressure to keep things going, especially because he is the oldest of 6, I think it is. 6 or 5 boys. And he's basically trying to keep the ranch afloat, especially because he has been foreman to this older guy who is her dad. And he just passed away. So now there's like so much going on. There's basically a transfer of power. And the will gets read and he left everything for her. And she has been no contact with her dad the longest time. I think it was like 10 years or something. They harbor preconceived notions of each other already from the jump, but also the way that both of them are going through grief about her dad, but in such different ways, because she is like going through grief for someone that she's upset with, that she wanted a relationship but didn't have, but also is discovering so much stuff because his perspective of her dad was amazing. Like, he was the dad that he needed when his dad passed away. So many people, including him, of the little town, look up to him. Like, he was so generous with them. He took all of his brothers and him into his wing, into his ranch, and gave them all jobs and taught them so many things. So it's so interesting to see different perspectives and how nobody's right, nobody's correct. They all are. You know what I mean? Like, however you feel about something, however you feel about somebody, it's your perspective and it's correct no matter what. And I loved how she wrote that in a way that is so sweet but also so hot. Their little back and forth, their banter was so good, especially because she is a definition of a girly girl, city girl. She owns a cowboy boot company, so she designs, so it's just her and this other girl, her best friend, that I'm hoping also has a book later on. But they are so good together, but also like his preconceived notion of her being this little city girl that gets everything she wants and doesn't even know how to have a hard day work or something like that is so interesting to see her like doing the hard work and still giving it back to him and not taking his shit. I could talk about this book forever because it was so good. I already read it, and that is very closely followed by Wyatt. He is, I think, the middle child, and he is the flirt. He is the one that is like, he can get any girl that he wants. He probably already got all the girls from the little town, the next town over, and the other town over, but he's been in love with her for forever. Another one that also has secret tattoos for her. She is this veterinarian for everybody, basically, but especially their ranch. She's there all the time with her dad, who's also a veterinarian that's getting older, so basically he's passing the mantle to her as a veterinarian, but also he puts, the dad puts a lot of pressure on her to go to, I think it's Harvard or Yale or Stanford, one of the Ivy League schools. She was accepted to go and work for them, and so basically she has a couple months, a handful of months or something, before she has to start this other program, this other job. And the dad like does not stop talking about this new program, because do you see how proud I am? And he doesn't see that she doesn't want to go. She wants to stay there because their life together, her friendship with him, her friendship with now Molly, who also ends up being so present there at the ranch, and everybody else that she's so connected and close with. Their relationship starts growing because then the flirt, she has been working so hard and studying so hard that she's like, I don't know how to talk to men. I don't know how to flirt. Would you please, flirt of the town? Would you please, best friend, help me out? Help her out, he does, okay? There's a truck scene. So excited for the next ones because you get to see a little bit of the brothers and how different their personalities are. Like, to do 5 brothers that are all ranchers at the same ranch different is kind of like hard. And last but not least, because I've talked for over an hour, I had to talk about Beverly Jenkins. This is not your traditional copper romance because it's not contemporary. This is historical romance. Specifically, I think this series specifically, they're not super interconnected if I remember correctly. They're very loosely connected, so you can really pick whatever read first. I will say Rebel is a great introduction to historical romance, but also to specifically Beverly Jenkins' writing. It's such a good romance. She is a school teacher and he is this like very prestigious New Orleans cowboy, and his family, especially his mom, are so well known in the little town. Basically bad guys start picking on her in her school, and he starts protecting her, and then a lot of stuff blossoms from there. So there's first proximity too, but also the amount of chivalry that happens in specifically on both of these is so endearing. The buildup of any of Beverly Jenkins' books, honestly, but specifically this series is so good. I definitely recommend. To Catch a Raven is also a really good one because there's like a, not suspense necessarily, but there's like a heist going on that they have to work with each other because she is from a family of robbers, grifters, like pickpocketers. Like, they do whatever they want, they do whatever they can, and this book starts with her pretending to be a princess, and they end up stealing like a bunch of diamonds or something, and it's always from people that deserve, which I was like, thank you very much. keep doing what you're doing. And he is, I think, an officer or like a legal person of some kind. I don't know if he's a cop or an FBI or something like that. And they have to work together because somebody stole the Declaration of Independence. And it's so good because it's kind of higher stakes than usual, but still like you understand that shit's gonna be figured out, you know? And it's so good, especially because they have to pretend to be married. So if you think that they're not gonna sleep together, you're wrong, pal. And last but not least, I think this is probably one of the Beverly Jenkins books that absolutely live rent-free in my head. Not only because it's such a good cowboy romance, but especially because she's the one that takes no shit. He's the one that's like a softer, more patient, more kinder main character, and she's like, I've had shit dealt with. I am a loner. I do not need any man. Like, I do not want to have kids and so on and so forth. Like, I will ride at dawn with my horse and my rifle, and I'm not gonna take no shit from anybody. It is so good. So if you want Cowboy, and if you're a true horse girl, hey girl, and I can't stress this enough, ha to you, okay? But if you're a true horse girl, you're gonna love this one. And I will say also this one, all of Beverly Jenkins, you're gonna realize that once you start reading, but I remembered specifically this one. Shit gets, like, the rifle that she puts in her back every time she gets out of the house gets put to use, let's say that. And it's so satisfying when somebody that's really mean and really horrible gets to die. Ooh, I love when that happens. So yeah, that was a very long, very yappy video. I hope you enjoyed it. I loved talking about these. As a OG horse girl, I feel like is my gift to the world, you know what I mean? And even if you don't like horses, I think if there's some tropes that I've talked about, like being gentleman, the found family, the like staying still for a while and just looking up the stars and enjoying life. If any of that calls to you, even if you haven't been introduced to cowboy romance yet, pick any of these or leave me a comment and let me know which one you're gonna pick so we can talk about it and be besties forever. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like, comment, and subscribe because I keep forgetting to say that. Find me in other socials. I am currently in a fantasy binge. Hopefully a new video will coming soon, but okay, bitch, bye!